Hey, what's good with you guys? This is Ronaldo Hernandez, and today I'm back with another video called Treating Scapular Dyskinesis, Winged Scapula, Shoulder Impingement, and Shoulder Impingement. So, first off, disclaimer: I want to say I'm not a licensed physician. I'm not a medical professional. Um, I'm just experienced with the topic at hand. And this video is just for educational purposes. Alright, so I'm gonna just make this video short, to be honest. I'm gonna just make it like very simple. Um, Now the reason why I was experiencing scapular dyskinesis, winged scapula, and a lot all sorts of shoulder impingement, grinding shoulders, cracking shoulders, stuff of that nature. Reason why that was all occurring was because of two things really. My shoulder mechanics was off, and I had bad posture. And and so with that in mind, most most people who kind of look this stuff up on how to like treat it, how to rehab it, they say, oh, work on your back more, start rowing more, start do serrated anterior exercises, strengthen those muscles, strengthen the lower traps or mid traps or whatever, right? But none of that works because you don't know how to move your scapula, or I didn't know how to move my scapula, and you know, and for you to actually be able to properly move your scapula, you gotta learn how to stand correctly. Your posture has to be good, and like I said before in other videos, like posture is only fixed by your habits. No exercise is gonna fix it. Because how are you gonna work out a specific muscle if you're not even using good form? Like you're not even in the appropriate posture to actually activate those muscles. Like your body has to work kind of like synergistically. Like everything kind of needs to be aligned optimally for you to actually engage these muscles. So I'll even post a link to the article where I found this information from. But essentially, what it really is just you just have bad form and just moving the scapula, and you have bad posture. The only way to fix those is just to fix your posture, and then start learning how to move your scapula. And all sorts of like um, planes of motion. I know there's a reason why I'm gonna make this simple because like I understand the terms, but I just like I'm still having trouble kind of like differentiating which is which. But mostly it's like you got to get good at glenohumeral abduction, flexion above 90 degrees. So in this plane of motion, upward, basically you got to get good at all sides of upper rotation. I mean all sides of like vertical, but just overhand. You gotta get good at moving your scapula from all these angles, and then from these angles right here too, below 90 degrees. And again in abduction, flexion, and also extension. And that's basically it. This flexion, this extension, um, what should we call it? This abduction from up here, abduction from up there. Um, all that sorts of things. So you just really gotta just get better at just moving the scapula around. Me personally, like once I read the article and started implementing the advice that was shared, a lot of my pain went away. This and that. Especially and like when I moved my arms, essentially. And not only that, but it kind of made me realize a lot of the, I guess you say like dysfunctional habits I would have. Like, it took me, it takes a while to actually learn how to move the scapula because me personally, from experience, like I just couldn't really feel it. Like, what actually helped me a lot was just looking in the mirror, making sure like I was standing correctly, and kind of like Also checking to see the muscles that were supposed to be engaging are actually kind of like moving. Like every time you go overhead, do anything overhead, you have to make sure the serratus anterior is always like engaged. There should always be some type of protraction when you go overhead. And speaking of that too, like a lot of people recommend to like retract the shoulder blades and stuff like that to I don't know treat this issue. But like if you have this condition, like retracting the shoulder blades is gonna make like things so much worse. Because one, um, like just a shoulder too much shoulder retraction is like very detrimental. I'm gonna try to see if I can find the article to that one, but it's been linked to a lot of like nerve impingement. I think it's a dorsal subscapular nerve. But anyways, like it just restricts a lot of the blood vessels in the area, and constantly doing it, you could possibly make a habit of just always having your shoulders retracted, which was actually an issue of mine too. Like, it took me a while to realize that I was always retracting my shoulder blades, but I just didn't know how to properly set them. And the way to set them is that you have to, from like an actual like terminology perspective, like the top of the shoulder blade should rest on T2, and the end of the shoulder blade should rest on T7. So it should be in that distance, and it should be kind of there should be I think like a medial rotation of like 30 degrees. I believe that's what's correct. I could be wrong on that, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, it should be like think about this: my thorax, the spine should be like this far apart. You know, there should be room in between them two. It should be kind of like this in a way. Yeah, it all depends on your anatomy. Some people are more inwardly, like more internal rotated. Some people are more externally rotated, but you should find like a sweet spot in that. And one way to actually kind of feel this, just from how I ended up figuring it out, it's just like I kind of basically do kind of like a lat spread. I don't even know how to do that. It's like a bodybuilding pose where they fill out the lats, but you slightly do it and then you shrug a little up. And because according to the article, the shoulder should be backing up because this backing down motion, what I'm doing right here, is very detrimental as well because it causes you to compress the brachial plexus, which is like this series of nerves that innervate the arm. And so there is, it just, like I said, like it can just restrict a lot of the blood vessels to be functioning there, and you can cause a lot of nerve impingement in those areas too. And that's actually a habit that I'm still kind of struggling with sometimes, like just keeping my shoulders up. I'm very good at keeping it back, but then up is kind of like at this like once you learn this, you notice that you kind of always have to have your shoulders kind of engaged, like because if you let them relax, it's gonna drop down like that. You're gonna droop. It just has to be backing up just slightly. You don't have to like shrug all the way up, but it's just supposed to be like subtle, just to make sure like you're actually like engaging with your arms. Um, and so yeah, I'm about to just wrap it up real quick. But anyways, treating scapular dyskinesis, wounded scapula, and all these shoulder impingement issues is really just because of bad shoulder mechanics. Where you can another word for that is like bad motor control. You just don't know how to properly move the scapula, most of the scapula, and bad posture. And that's very very important too because um, you need to have good posture to move your scapula correctly. If your posture's all bad, like most likely you're gonna have this some type of dysfunction of movement dysfunction, in any area of your body. So posture needs to be addressed first. If you don't know how to slide, you can watch my posture video. I made a video on that. And then once you learn how to stand correctly, then that's when you can start learning how to move the scapula correctly. And in regards to that, training and in those and arm flexion, arm abduction, arm adduction will help the practice. Think of it more as a supplement to treating this because, like I said before, like your form needs to be correct for you to actually reap the benefits of these exercises. And these exercises could help, strengthen your posture. Like there's no doubt about that. They help strengthen, they don't fix your posture. So just keep that in mind. Always make sure your form's right before you even try adding weight or try doing a specific movement. And just be very careful. From my experience, like I had to start really light. And then eventually once you get used to the movement, you can start adding more weight. But other than that, though, you just gotta be aware of how you're standing and how your shoulders are positioned. Every day to day, like life. So I'm gonna just end it at that. So thank you for tuning in, and this is a fast life.